Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Sorry, I'm a little late. The time change, for anybody who's affected by that, got me this morning. So kind of scrambling to get ready. So I'm Steve. Welcome to Steve Builds. Hello, everybody in chat. Martin and Wolfgang and DJ Natty and Bill and Brant and Joker Nut and Stuart and Chris and Angie. How's everyone doing? Paul, hi Ludwig, DJ Natty, BBs, and Nathan. So, I did change my clock. I just was up way too late last night to be getting up an extra hour early. So, hi Jeff and Jason, Jorg, Joanne, Joanne from Belgium. Welcome. Extra coffee today. So last week, I wasn't expecting some of the problems we ran into at the end of the stream last week. I should have, but I really didn't allocate time for them. So I felt like it really got cut short. So that's why we're doing this today. We are going to go over a few more things, finish the assembly of this, and start a print. So today, depending on how long things take, may be more of a print and chat type stream, but we shall see. I've said that before and really taken significantly more time than I thought anyway. So, hi, Mr. Clown. Hi, Ryan, Derek, Skyrim, and Sean. Before we get into that, I don't know if any of you are following me on Twitter. I'm terrible at social media, so I've got a few posts there though. Oh, and key point, I forgot to post that I was going live. In the hustle of this morning. I've been talking about printing the 3D sets buggy. And they came out with a new model that I can't resist. So I'm shifting gears. I got to show you guys because it's really cool. I think it's cool. And it's supposed to be a simpler build. So let's go over to the 3dsets.com website. I am 3dsets.com. So right here, right front page, they have what they call the Sandy. And it's another two-wheel drive RC car. It uses the same basic drivetrain as the buggy I was going to build. So I have all the belts and stuff needed. But I saw this and I had to go with this. Let's see if we can get a few better pictures of it. See the details. But yeah, let's go to images. Isn't that cool? Excuse me. Hi, 3D Printing Freak and Loaf and Breckle. I'll probably build this version because I kind of like it without the extra side body panels. Hi, Rurari? Sorry if I'm butchering your name. Stephen. So with that, I've printed a few pieces already and some of them are turning out really good. So I'm sticking with the slime green from Printed Solid, the Jesse Slime Green PLA. But this goes something like, these are side pieces. This goes something like that. And then this other piece goes on the front like that. And that's about how big it's going to be. So the problem I'm having, oh, and my throat is not happy this morning. Charlie's causing havoc. He wants to find a way up here. But the problem I'm having with this print, this is looking pretty good. I mean, the curves are really, really nice, but I'm running into, on these long travels, I don't know if I can get this in the light. You can see that roughness here, and you can see it really bad up here. You see that roughness? Oh, there's Charlie. So on this part, it's probably okay. I probably don't need to reprint that. Although I did get some lifting in the corners. I didn't use a brim. So, hi, Andres. Yeah, I like these colors, especially on for a print like that. That it's exactly what you said, that bright 1970s color. Here we go. So we'll get a Charlie visit. I have a feeling he's going to be attention needy again. Hi, Mark. And Jarrett, yeah, I'm printing it all in PLA. They recommend PLA. We'll see how it goes. I may try one in ABS. Hi, Thomas. Hi, John. Nathan, yeah, the daylight savings change. It's nice because the evening hours, it's dark, indicated much later. So today my goal after stream is to get back on the bike. I need to start riding my bike again. So I've kind of set the time change as my goal for doing that at the time change. So I will be getting my bike ready after stream and going for a little road ride. So I have a feeling Charlie's going to be another terror today, so we'll see. Also printed a few of the black pieces. This is also Jesse PLA in black, and those are turning out well. It seems I'm getting that extrusion issue only on long, straight parts. So, okay, a little recap. So last week we finished the 2.4 R2 upgrades. So that's why the title for this isn't part 3. This is just additional work I need to do on this printer that's not necessarily related to the revision updates. We had a problem where it skipped steps when it made a move that it used to make just fine. I believe that's maybe due to extra friction in the gantry due to the higher preload rail, the new higher preload rail I put on there. I think that it could be a combination of that and maybe some changes because Clipper made some changes in the way it handles some of the TMC stepper drivers. I don't know that was part of it, but I think the more likely one is additional friction. What extruder are you using, Galileo? No, this is just basically stock afterburner. I added a fitting on top because I use the Prusa Festo connector here. I'll probably go away from using that with afterburner because the PTFE straight into the top seems to work fine. So anyway, I fixed that because those speeds were only encountered during my the Euclid docking and undocking procedure. So I reduced those speeds, and I don't believe that'll be a problem. I'm also going to bump the current on the XY steppers just a little bit. I think I was running them a little low anyway. Another problem we ran into last week was that when I went to dock the Euclid probe, it knocked the probe off. It didn't hit the target. And I realized that the problem is I switched from the MGN 9 carriage to the MGN 12 carriage. This is the little adapter that I chose to use. There's many options for mounting any of these probes. Some of them are integrated into the X carriage. I chose to use one of these little just probe adapter, the Euclid probes screwed to the bottom of this. This model is based on the PL series CAD, which means similar to the PL series on the MGN 12 setups, it's too tall. it was moving the probe down by about 1 millimeter, which was just enough to cause it to knock into the dock. So the creator of the Euclid revised the model for me, and I have an updated one on here, and it's docking just fine now. So that's fixed. So 3D Printing Freak, €5, a small donation for the Steve Fund. Thanks for all the live streams. Thank you. I appreciate that, Martin. So I use all Fabrico high preload rails, and my V2 is amazing. Yeah, I think it was just two things. I'm running the current maybe a little low. These are older 1 amp 40 millimeter 0.9 degree steppers, which are probably underpowered, but they've been working fine, so I haven't swapped them until that. I'm running them at 0.5 amps, so I'm going to bump that to 0.6. Yeah. So, and then the additional friction, I think, and then the speeds that the dock and undock was hitting was just the right combination to cause it to skip on that. We fixed the skip by changing the speeds on the last stream. This stream will go into the config and tweak the current and that. The other thing is I was noticing, maybe I can get a little bit of a view here. Get all this stuff up out of the way. At the max Y travel, I'm rubbing chain to chain, the X chain to the Z chain. And I was looking at it, and I realized that about 2 years ago when I was building, or over 2 years ago when I was sourcing my first Voron, I bought the wrong Z cable chains, and it's carried through with me to this build because I use the same chain, because you can get for the Z chain, you can get 2 builds out of one Befenebe generic chain because they come with ends for 2. I put a 15 by 15 chain on here, which is, let's see if I can get a better view over here. So I put a 15 by 15 chain. This is the proper 10 by 15 chain. I'm not really helping here. Let's see. But it is a solid 2 millimeters. Let's see if I can get that at least somewhat. It's a solid 2 millimeters narrower. Charlie is, there we go. It is a solid 2 millimeters narrow. So we're going to swap that out because that is easy to do right now when the panels are off. And that will save me some headaches later. So Jason, that is on my legacy. I'm printing all those parts. That is probably something in pressure advance, something to do with the extruder. I have some learning to do on tuning that M4 Bowden setup. It's a pretty long Bowden, so pressure advance is really tricky to get right. So, Nathan, not much, but for Sandy fun. Thank you. Appreciate that. And we ran into issues because I was updating an old version of Clipper Moonraker Fluid. Since Fluid came out with an update, this is one of my Fluid machines. And we ran into some of the deprecated functions. The something with the variables, I don't remember the exact term, got replaced. And I kind of glossed over it by commenting out the offending pieces of the macros. And we're going to look up at least a basis for fixing that. So, Pex Peppers, how was your legacy build? I'd really like to have something different like that. So my legacy is legacy serial 001. So that's the second one because RCF has 000. It was a fun build. It's very to spec, and it prints pretty well. I don't run into. I mean, if you look at this, let's see if we can get this. This is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, there are no print artifacts, and this was printed all by itself on the plate. And that tip there, that fine tip, because this prints like this, that fine tip there turned out really well. So it does a good job. I just need to figure out what's going on when it hits those long straight periods. KF, €5 for Charlie's own drag chain fund. Yeah. You going? Are you done? Of course you're not. What are your thoughts on the Z-axis moving versus being stationary? The Z-axis is always going to move, but are you talking about the gantry moving in Z? So Trident versus Voron 2, right? Is that the basics of the question? I think they both have their pluses and minuses. I think the Trident is an easier build. It's a more rigid frame setup. There is equivalent. You would probably have a hard time noticing differences in print quality between them. Dark Neutrino, €2. Thank you for the stream, Steve. Such relaxing time. I thank you. I appreciate that you think that it's relaxing. Broadus, that is Printed Solid, is a U.S. vendor. They have their own line of filament called Jessie, and that is the Slimer Green. Hey, Golden Jaguar, welcome. So once we get everything fixed on here, I think that takes care of the fixing things that came up in last stream. Finally, I'm going to put a camera on a Voron. This is the first time. I haven't put a camera on one yet. And I bought this a while back, and I've shown it on stream. But this is the Wave Share. I think it's a 5 megapixel. I like the form factor camera. And then I've got a couple of different mounting options. This one, a viewer goes by MAJK Magic on Discord sent this to me to try. And then the person who made the Panzer chains has this Panzer Observer. So I'm going to try this one first and maybe go to this one. We'll see how things work out. There's a couple of different angles for this one. Clipper changed the way defining parameters for macros at some version. Yeah, and that's what I kind of glossed over last stream because I wasn't prepared for that. And it was the end of the stream. So I felt it was cut too short. So that's why we're doing this today. Hi, Christian from Copenhagen. Justin Moritz, $5. Thank you. I just ordered that camera like 30 minutes ago. Hi, Simon. Yes, Charlie is going to be a needy, needy little man today. Old man. He's an old man. They get more needy as they age, right? You're going to go down. It looks like you're ready to go down. I'll help you. Let us start with changing out that Z cable chain. I have no idea, Nathan, if it autofocuses. I'm coming into this a little cold. I did a test setup on another one of my fluid machines just to make sure I didn't really stumble today. But other than that, I have not done much. Well, that's a bummer, Chris. I've not run into, I've been fortunate. I haven't run into a single spool in all my printing that has tangled that I couldn't attribute to myself. Is there an STL to print my own Charlie? I want one. There's got to be a good tabby style cat model out there. Is the one cam mount working for you? I'm not sure which one you're referring to, DJ Natty. Needy as they get older. I was told both. Steve, could you share the cable chain tie wrap thingamajig that you spoke about last stream? Yes, I need to put that out on my GitHub. I need to catch up on a lot of things on my GitHub, including putting CAD out there. I realized I didn't put CAD out there for anything, and I should have CAD for everything out there. Hey, Squirrel Brain. Okay, so I'm going to start by clipping these zip ties that I put in here just to kind of help control the wires. I hope this works out okay. This might be fun switching out. The one cam mount you're going to be using, aka the one which fits. I don't know which one. Which one is that? I haven't tried either of them. I haven't tried them. I've got this one from Magic, and I've got this assembly. I've got a few parts here because some of my silver didn't print well. Like that one is terrible. So this one goes together like this and then goes here, and then you can adjust the angle. I'm going to mount all of them to the top front. This one's really simple and an easy print, so I want to try this one first and see what angle I get. This is just one screw kind of holding it on. We'll see how it goes. Worst case, things will work. Can always VHB tape it up here, right? Okay, so that is loose. Andrew from Japan, hello. I have no experience with cable chains yet. This will be a great lesson. Let's see if I can get an angle on this screw. This screw gave me all kinds of fun last time. Just getting to it. I've got a, there we go. A ball end driver is invaluable for this stuff. Okay, so that is all loose. Screws, I've got all this. When you buy the Bifenabe chains off Amazon, they've started coming with a really nice, well, it's not nice, but it's useful, little flathead screwdriver. I use this for some of the terminals on the controller, but it's meant to pop the gates on the little opening levers on the chain. Hey, Jose, we are working, Jose, or is that right? We're continuing work on the V2. Changing the cable chain right now. De la Burkes Pepe, hello. JP Gray, am I going to be doing more mods to my switch wire? Yes. So the series of streams around that started with the Y splitter dual color setup, and then I moved over to the Prusa Mark III so I could get some experience with the silicone bed mount mod, and we're going to return to the switch wire at some point. I don't know when. We're going to return to the switch wire and apply that, what I learned there, to the switch wire, as well as a few other things to play around with the bed leveling. Hi, Kyle. I did not actually change my Euclid setup because I found out my whole problem. There were two problems. The speeds set up in it were just too aggressive for this setup here, and the mount was needed tweaked. So I tweaked the mount. I am going to cover an update to Euclid stuff on a future stream. I will be installing one on a Trident, and in that build, I'll be using all the latest recommended macros. Right now, I'm going to stick with what I know works on this printer. Okay, so I got all of those out. I think I need to pop the ends off. I'm just going to squeeze those and kind of use this screwdriver to help. Do I have another zip? No. There we go. Popping the ends off. The camera mount fit on the back of the gantry. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, I gotta pop the ends off both sides in order to get this to work. There we go. Oh, I forgot. I missed one gate here. There. So this cable chain is about 2 millimeters wider than it should be, which explains all the rubbing between those two chains. Am I going to mount the kinematic bed on this printer? This is a good candidate for it because I have a lot of material on the back of the bed because you have to drill a new hole in the center. This would be a good candidate for it. Look at the difference in the ends here. Quite a difference. Okay, let's put this back. How is this going? So these cable chains, at least the generic ones, generally come with a floppy end and a fixed end. We want the fixed end at the A stepper mount so it prevents the printer from falling back this way. If this was mounted here, then this can fall back. Let's see that I'm holding that in place, and this can fall back this way. With this here, then it forces it to go straight up. How do you manage to keep my printers and desks so tidy? Do you use them? Yes, this shop is a absolute mess. And even this is kind of a little out of control right now. What you don't see on camera doesn't hurt me, right? So we're gonna pop all this open and try to wrangle all the wires. Easy. Yeah, I put a high value on my stream time. Although if I keep wanting to do midweek streams, I have to break it for midweek streams because I have a day job. I keep talking about wanting to do midweek streams, but it's just tough. I have a Prusa Mark III that belongs to a friend, and I think I've figured out all the problems with it. So I could potentially cover on a midweek stream reassembling that because I'm going to replace all the parts. I reprinted everything in ABS, all the latest Prusa versions, get it all cleaned up and straightened out for him. So that could be good midweek content, but we'll see. Especially with the time change, I need to get on the bike more. And that's also prime cycling time. No music today. Oh, you're right. Let's try this. I lose music, but you guys got music. You should have music now. I could hear it. I don't know what's going on with this. Last week, I had music, you had music. These AirPods, I don't know what it is. The particular setup of which is it. There's a headset versus headphones when it gets set up in Windows. I don't get it. Okay, so this is the fixed end. So let's keep track of that. So let's see here. We've got all of these. Let's just start this, make sure we have all the wires, and put one, close it on a couple of these. So we've got everything there, making sure we don't catch any wires in the latch. Then put this guy on. There we go. We're just going to go around. I had to replace parts of the extruder assembly on my Mark III with ABS printed parts because some of it melted. Yeah. When I printed my first Voron, most of it was on 2 Prusa Mark IIIs, and they were had all their parts in PETG, and literally every print I would go through and tighten a few of the bolts that would kind of creep loose. Microphone is sounding great, by the way. Awesome. So I bought a Rode wireless lav mic, so it's sitting right here under my shirt. Andres, speaking of rubbing, does your clicky run over the base when you move to X0 on Max Y? Well, any of these fixed dock probe setups like that, dockable probes, you're going to lose a spot in your oops, I put this one on wrong. You're going to lose a spot in your travel where you just can't hit it without flip this around, without getting the magnets too close to possibly pick up the probe. I don't think there's a way around that. There we go. Are you guys hearing the music? So for this Z cable chain and the R2 revisions, we changed to a single printed with a heat set anchor setup. So this goes down here. I'll show you a better view of it when I get it together. Hi, Michael. Watched all your LDO 2.4 streams. They were simply fantastic. Thanks for sharing so much of your knowledge and demeanor. You're a pro. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. I think I need to pull this around this way. Grab those wires. This is a little tight. Doing this on printer is definitely trickier than but there we, I'm not catching anything. There we go. So that is that. Let's try fixing the bottom one first. You have music. Good. I don't, but I need to figure that out. Got to be a better way to do this. So I'm going to just kind of make sure I don't pinch the wires and hold this in place. See if I can get Charlie knocked over my other little camera. There we go. Hey, that's a great view. So this little printed piece here goes on here. And then you push this over before tightening it up. If the probe is picking up at max Y, couldn't you shift your bed for it? The thing about Vorons is the footprint to build size is very efficient. So you don't have a lot of room to move the bed around to access areas outside of the build surface without a compromise somewhere. So if you moved your bed forward, you're gonna lose total white travel. So you might as well just avoid that area of the bed. You can lose a corner of the bed and still have use of the rest of it. Thanks, Michael. Charlie is doing well. He is a terror lately in wanting attention, but he's off in another room now. Yeah, the industry shortages are real, pretty boy. It's just things are not available. I need to take this wire cover off to get access to this other one. I'm waiting for Maildio 2.4 kit, ETA 16th of May. Do you think CW2 and Stealth Burner will be on final before that date? I don't have a date for you. I think we're closer than we were. By the 15th of May, that's 2 months. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to promise. So that it's easy to say by the 15th of May sounds pretty reasonable, but no promises. Looking to build my third Voron. Would you suggest the Trident or the 2.4? My totally unbiased opinion is a Trident. My totally biased opinion is a Trident. Let's see if I can get this thing in here. This was causing me all kinds of trouble last time because no matter what, this whole, let's see if I can set that right there and use another screwdriver to help guide this into place just like that. And then bring this in. I'm cross-threading it because I've got a bad angle here with a ball driver. Yep, I'm cross-threading this thing. Let's see if I can get a better angle on this. Okay, so I've started cross-threading this brass insert. So what I am going to do, I'm not going to redo it. I'm going to grab my M3 tap. I'm just going to make sure this is clear through. And I should be able to do this by hand. Just clean that up. Hi, Maker Viking. Welcome. Okay, let's try this again. Screwdriver to help me put that in place. Come at this from this angle. I feel like I'm gonna have to redo that. I don't have another piece. Okay, I'm gonna try something here. I can't take the time to reprint this piece. So what I am going to do is swap it with the bottom one that I feel like I can get a better angle on. Yeah, I had cross-threaded that, so I'm gonna clean up the threads here. I think once it's cross-threaded and catching there, my chances of getting it are going to be low. So I'm gonna swap it with this bottom one, which has clean threads, and I can get to quite a bit easier. Derek, $10, thank you. Hi, Ed. Okay, so I'm going to pull that off, and now this can be threaded directly. Yep. So I managed to fix the threads on that. And that one's fine. So now I've got a fresh, basically a fresh piece to use in this other. And someone suggested going through here, and that is a great idea. So I'm going to use it. There's that. Now I've got a somewhat straight angle at this piece. There we go. That held in place. This. Where are we at? Mary, give Charlie a lot of attention, motivational super chat. Thank you. €5. Why am I not? There we go. There we go. Oh, and I'm giving you guys a terrible view. Sorry about that. That is on and tight, and we are good. This guy back on here. I don't know how to beat daylight savings time change. How do you beat the daylight savings time change? Yeah, that's nice and sturdy. Let's see if we've actually resolved our issue. We're just getting a view of the cable. I mean, that's not actually showing you any. Well, maybe you can see it from there. It's right at it instead of rubbing on it now. They're not actually touching. It's super close. But that just tells you that I was way too close before. Hey, Mr. K. Steve, do you deal with the exhaust fan and cover vibrating during printing? Not that I've noticed. Not that I've noticed. Hi, Alexander. Move to Arizona or Hawaii. They don't do daylight savings. Yeah. So California had a vote to, and the vote is confusing for a lot of people because the vote was simply to, I think it was simply whether to explore or apply to remove daylight savings time. It wasn't to actually do it. It was like, let's vote to see if we're going to vote to do something. Everyone is worried about losing sleep. If you don't go to sleep, you can't lose it. Smart. Any particular taps you like to use? That's something I want to research because I have some cheap, just Amazon sets of metric taps, and I'd like to have some nice taps. I just haven't actually needed them yet. So I need some zip ties. Oh, sorry, Charlie. You're underfoot. Here, let's do this. Let's move this closer. Get this stuff out of the way, and now you have a spot that you can stand on. Zip ties. Sometimes our ballots seem to be worded to, yeah. Zip ties. Same thing up here at the top. Just grabbing this. There you go. And making sure this doesn't move much, so this isn't critical. just grabbing those and making sure the cables run around the center line, as close to the center line as possible of the cable chain. That's looking pretty good. I do, so you're right. Someone mentioned, JP Gray mentioned reamers. I have a set of metric reamers as well. And I was doing so many, because I used to use the McMaster sourced 5mm heat set inserts. And you need an actual 5mm hole for those to work. So I was doing so many of those, I printed a little piece to press onto my 5mm reamer so I could just do it by hand on all the pieces. And then enough here so I can still chuck it up in a drill if I need to. That part won't go on GitHub. That's not worth it. Hi, Charlie. Let's see. Yeah, a good reamer set is really useful, and they're not too bad. On my 1.8 conversion. Awesome. What are you converting this time, Golden Jaguar? Some kind of heat insulation that I got on the bottom of the printer? No. This is just ABS panels. Some brass chips from cross-threading that insert. That is done and fixed. What is next? Let's go ahead and put the back panel on. I think we can start putting panels on. I'm gonna put the camera on the front before, let's make sure that I'm still good on this. Go down and travel, is that? I think that's binding. So I'm gonna move this little stop a little bit. This forward. There we go. Just shifting that so the Z cable chain doesn't bind on this little stop. This stop is less important now because Charlie. This stop here is less important because I reshaped this mount to come up and capture the next link to force it from being able to bend back. If that makes sense. But I'll leave it there because it doesn't hurt. Converting a Trunksy X5SA Pro. You're also upgrading the rod from 8 to 12mm. Yeah, that's right. So you're doing a 1.8 with rods. And you're using a 9mm thick 330 by 330. That's good size. It's a bit heavy for those skinny rods to keep stable. Okay, where did I put the back panel? I put it right here. Let's see here. I've got a box of all the panel clips and other things. I need the one. Pick out the right. These are the thinners. So there's two different panel clips. The 4mm version and the 6mm version. These are for the side panels. These are for the rear and the top. Three of those and 4 of those. Hey, Evil Knievel. What do you think, Charlie? Where did I put? Oh. Charlie, you're in the way. Shift this into place. There we go. So for next week, I don't know what I'm going to do for next week's stream. I have, and I bought this thing well over a year ago. I have one of those 3018 CNCs, and I've been wanting to play around, use it as a platform for easier little Fusion 360 cam projects, and just kind of learning more CNC routing type stuff. So I may end up assembling that on camera next week. This thing is close. What do I got? There we go. There we go. Try to get all these centered. Satisfied just being in the area. There we go. So Nathan, thanks for mentioning that. Last night I went through and added thread locker to all of these to see if it made anything any easier. We'll see by the time I'm done with this. I did that just last night, and they are a little, there's definitely more friction. These panels are cut right at size, so they've got to be just right to work. Mine sits alone in a corner. I hated it, but I'm also a machinist by trade, so I just could not do alone and well. Yeah. So that machine, that the expectations need to be set for its capabilities and quality. CNC is messy. Fortunately, it would live in the other garage. So I have two garages here. This is a one-car garage. It's about 10 by 17. And the other garage, which is where the drill press and bandsaw, table saw, that kind of stuff is, it's a two-car garage. It's 20 by 20. Voron CNC when? I have a Bantam tool CNC. Don't buy one. Everything is proprietary. Yeah, this is the all aluminum. So the side plates, even the tool head mount is all aluminum. It's like the 3018 Pro Max or something like that. The particular listing I bought isn't available anymore. But I think you have to search for like Pro Max to find the all aluminum ones. I have a MP-CNC. It's working well. It's running Marlin. It's running the standard MP-CNC recommended setup. So I don't want to mess with it because it's working well. This I want to build as something I can mess with. I can try Gerbil. I can try running Clipper on it. I can try Linux CNC, whatever I feel like trying. The doing it on stream, you're right, will be interesting because it is loud. But maybe I can maybe I can just do a light engraving thing for a test on stream. Let's get the spool holder on. What are your thoughts on the print and see? I keep eyeballing one. The thing that bugs me about the print and see is just bolting rails to those steel tubes. I guess if you went through and did all the shimming and all the aligning, it just seems like a lot of, I don't know. The steel tubes, I don't trust the accuracy. If you wanted to machine flats on them, it'd probably work well, but this. Charlie, you're a character. Where are my bolts? I do not like this not having music on my side. Gotta figure that out. If anybody has any suggestions. I know someone brought up something before. I don't remember it though. There's some other utility or something I can run. Do you know by you're creating static electricity? Well, yeah. Not touching anything that matters though. Yeah, we got some actual orange hair here, so and he loves that spot being scratched. So, there. And let's get this guy in here. All of this is easier to do. Before where'd that other piece go? Where'd the drill go? Didn't I just have that? I just saw it. Did you knock it off the table, Charlie? All this is easier to do before putting the top panel on. You guys know where I put the grill? Hey, Sanity. Yeah, daylight savings time. It's 11 o'clock here. Hey, Nirq. Where did I put the grill piece? You sitting on it, Charlie? Oh, it's under the printer. Oh. Dropping all the things under the printer. Play the music directly through the speaker. Yeah, then I don't think it would sound right. Okay, that's going there, and then I need 2 3x8 button heads. Charlie scooted it under with his tail. Yeah, a little turd. Charlie is absolutely helping. Thanks, Nirq. Nirq, you decide if you're going to Murph or not? Let's see here. So many weird angles. Why can't I get to that? Ah. You decide if you're going to Murph or not, Miracle. Hey, you turd. That's my screw. There we go. Where'd it go? Michael. Obviously 23 for MJ and Charlie. He's clearly a champion too. Thank you. Where is that? There we go. Do you like gray colors? I notice you build. I do. I like the colorful stuff too. It's just gray along with a nicely colored frame. I think that's the deal here, is that the frame is really the accent color here. And this is probably my favorite LDO frame color, is this green. So I didn't want to take away from that. Cancel this. Still finessing. What was the good excuse we came up with? Putting screws in my laying spot. It's just anything that's on a surface should be on the floor, right? Convincing her how wonderful Goshen is for her and the kids is a hard sell. Okay. So I am planning, that's somewhat level. I am planning on running the camera cable down this other side. So I'm going to put this side panel on while I'm here. And save the top and doors and the other side for later. So this guy's probably goes here. Yeah, exactly, Chris. I want the frame to be the center of attention here. Start with the bottom here. Oh, no, this is thrilling installing panels, but we'll get to the camera and then print. Putting the Loctite on the panels does seem to have made these a little easier to get into place. There we go. Gift. I'm just estimating the location of these mid clips. I'll measure them later. What is your opinion on the magnet panel? Seems superior to the screw version. I wouldn't mind trying one. I just haven't gotten around to checking what's out there and printing the parts. I agree, magnetic panels might be interesting. Should do some ABS. That's really tough. Getting the sheen, I would love a filament that looks like this frame, but you're never going to quite match it. And if you're close, then it's completely wrong. You have to either be exact or go with a complementary color. Steven Smith, now I know who you are. RC stand. Like I said, great first Fusion 360 project. Great first Fusion 360 project. There are magnetic bottom panels and magnetic side panels for you and Voron users get. I think there are a few versions. I just want to should see what's out there. Let's go ahead and put this thing back on here. Yeah, Charlie has spent half the stream on here. Got the Cato likes. Come on. Purple would match nicely. Get a little Joker theme going. Okay, let's install this camera. So, I'll help you there, Charlie. It's a long drop. We are going to install this WaveShare camera. Let me pull the little... Here, let's see if we can get some... Steven's probably still here, right? What do we got? This is not going to be nearly as satisfying. Come on. Where are you at? Oh, there it is. Can we get a ink? Oh, there we go. Peel the protective film. Snap latches look like the perfect answer. I've seen those as well. I think I'd prefer magnets, but we'll see. I can try a few things. So this camera I just bought off of Amazon. So it's just WaveShare. I don't even know what it would come up as. Someone posted the model, just a better description of the model in chat just a little bit ago. Maybe they can repost that. We are going to mount this thing on the back side of the printer here. Now, I'm noticing the model here is really tight, which is probably good. Tight fit in the extrusion. Snap latches on the side panels and really like them. Yeah. Thanks, Ryan. It's the WaveShare 5 megapixel. It's the OV5648. Like was put in chat. I had a little bit of elephant's foot on this. So I'm going to try just cleaning it up a little bit. Corners are always fun to get even. So there are two versions. This is a 20-degree angle, I think. And this one is 20.5. It might be 23. It's printed on the inside. I think this is meant. So here's the problem. I think this is meant to mount to the back extrusion, because I'm looking at this and where that's going to point is I want to put it here. I don't think this is going to work. Now that I actually, like I said, I came into this kind of blind on these mounts. I think the angle on this is just going to be wrong, because I'm going to be pointing out here in the middle of this where I want to point at the build plate. So let's shift gears and try this this mod. Let me show you where I got this. We go back to here. It is the slider, the person who did Panzer chains. It's a Panzer Observer. I don't know if this has been pushed to user mods. I'm on their GitHub, which is SLIDR666. Their fork of the Voron users repo. How will I route the USB cable? I'll get through that. I'll go through that, and I'm hoping it'll work. So this is the mount. It's 3 pieces. There's a front piece, a back piece, and then the mount, and then it rotates on this. And I'm hoping that rotation will get me a good angle. If not, I'll have to rethink the whole thing, but at least we'll make it functional today. May not be ideal, but it'll be functional. Need a couple of heat sets, a couple of M3 nuts for the extrusion, and we'll go from there. I don't think we need much for instructions here. It says mount on the bottom side of the upper extrusion. Is that going to get me the right angle? It might. Which one of these is... This one's a tighter angle. We could try it. That would serve what I was looking to do. I don't know how much room will be left in the extrusion slot. Not much. I could try that on the bottom like that. That actually looks like it's... I still don't think I'm gonna hit the angle I'm looking for. Can I put this here and get... Yeah, I might do that. Put that on the bottom. Okay, I think I'm still gonna do this one for the adjustability. Let's see if this has actually been merged to Voron users. So let's go to Voron users GitHub. And printer mods. And this is called Panzer. So let's go to sliders. No. He hasn't merged it to Voron users. Maybe he hasn't pushed it. This was DM'd to me. I hope that they don't mind this being shared. It's on their GitHub. Oops, I didn't want to do that. Let me paste this. Any suggestions to connect to Pi 02? What do you mean? For connecting? It's just like any other Pi. It's the same software. Plug it into your PC to test the angle. We're just gonna go for it. We're just gonna go for it. So. The nice thing about this mount, so I wanted to use a different mount that's out on Voron users, and it required, this is the USB cable that comes with the camera. It required you removing this connector, depinning it, running the wires through a channel, and then repinning it. And I didn't like that. Aside from, it doesn't actually have room to mount in the way they had it. They had this going in the same spot as a T-nut, which doesn't happen. This one, this cable goes right through here, gets zip tied there, and then goes into the slot. So the PR process is manual. Everything is reviewed. We have volunteers, just like with serial numbers. So it can take a while, especially, I mean, there are so many submissions to Voron users, and everything needs to be gone through because they check for like print orientation, make sure everything, at least on a first glance, is correct, can be printed, doesn't need supports, that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of effort into maintaining the Voron users GitHub. No standard USB on Pi 0. All my Pi 0 machines I have run through the UART connector. However, or at least when I had a 0 on the legacy, I ran a micro USB from the USB port that is on the micro USB port to the controller, and it worked. Okay, so we need a couple of heat set inserts. So let me swap out my tip here. You get little adapters. You would need a physical adapter or redo the cable. Oh. Charlie wants out. Give me a second. Okay, a couple of heat sets here. A USB hat for a bunch of USB-A connectors. That's true. They do make little, and they make little hubs. You can get a USB hub with the micro USB input on it to plug directly in. I bought a couple off of Amazon. I don't remember the brand. Okay, let's see here. So this is going to go, let me see which one of these printed the best. That one's terrible. Any others around here? This one. I think this one probably printed the best. So this goes in here, and I don't think it Oh, how do you say your name? Zhao? From Brazil. Welcome. I would love to know how to pronounce your name. Educate me, please. Okay, so how does this go? So this is going to go in here, and I think I need to pull this connector and push it through here, then connect it. And then this goes like that. I think that goes like that. And then this snaps into here. Like that. It's going to be the little tight. I think there might be a component there that might be in the way. Mike, he said that the mount on the bottom of the front top extrusion, not on the back side like you mentioned. Okay, so it goes... I will try these. I think the angle... I probably need a different angle, but I think this is what you're talking about, Mike? Mounted like that. Bill Brothers, $10. Thanks for the cam info. Been meaning to do this for a while. So have I. I have been meaning to put a camera on my printer for a long while. Oh, and of course I missed something. So now I've got to get it through this piece. So let me pull this apart. Yeah, thanks for sending that, Mike. And I think I'm gonna need a different angle on that. I will try it though, because I'm planning on putting, if this works well, I plan on putting these in multiple printers, and it would be nice to try different mounts. So we're gonna go with this one today, but I will try your mount on another printer. And Charlie is being quite the terror because he just asked in and immediately turned around and wanted back out. Okay, so in this piece first, let that hang there. Into this piece second, and then plug into the camera. That goes there. And I think right like that. And then all of this goes in here, and a couple of 3x8s. There we go. And then this, you loosen these and set your angle. So I'm going to come down this side of the printer, and I think I want this. I kind of want it there, but I think putting it on the underside is going to give me more chance of getting a good view. And then that's going to go up into the extrusion slot. So I'm going to use hammer heads just to make this easy to install and reinstall so I can try different things. So my hammerhead nuts and 3 T-slot nuts. A couple of those. A couple of 3x8s. Is this going to... Okay. Yeah. So this could be a little thicker because an M3x8 is going to bottom out in my extrusion slot. Do I have something else? Let me see if I have an M3x6. I have M3x6 button heads. I don't want to bottom out in the extrusion slot. This is on the edge of, I mean, it's exact. The distance between this and the bottom of the extrusion slot is exactly 8 millimeters. There needs to be more clearance there. So mount the wires from the electronics to the cam, not the other way around. Probably, but I think we'll find out. We'll see if I have enough room to sneak it, because I may have to disassemble this again. You're just watching the full learning how to install process. I haven't done this before. Let's get the gantry out of the way. We're going to remove this cover. Let's find out. So Z cable, Z cover there. Let's see if we can sneak this in here. So the idea was to push that through there, and it does. It goes. So I got away with it, but what Christian is saying, Christian, are you? So your slider. So this is very cool. Thank you. I appreciate that mod. I don't know if you caught my feedback on the length of the screws for the mount, but that would be helpful to tweak that. Maybe I'm gonna move the printer on its side so I can get to that and more effectively route it. This is one reason why a 250 is so nice. It's very easy to move around. Oh, I'm listening. I just got that advice a little late, but I think we're okay because I got it routed. So we've got a camera wire here. I'm gonna pull this through. Holy moly, I've got lots of extra. So that's gonna go. I'm gonna put that to that side. So I'm gonna kind of temporarily fasten it over here. That's not centered or anything, but this will get us close. That's going to go there. This is going to come in here, and I'm just going to let the wires just kind of hang there for a second. Plug into the Pi. That is okay. $250 is best 50. That is absolutely right. No, and I appreciate that, Christian, that it's not there because you're not quite ready. And I hope it's okay to have posted the link to your GitHub. Somebody sent this to me. I don't remember where I found it. Won't the head hit the camera? I possibly, but I never print that high. Okay, this is good. So now I have this table in here. Let's see if I can get a view here. So now I have the USB cable going through. I don't want this to get caught up in the Z belts. So I printed this piece and I extended this shield here to hopefully get it, keep it out of the way. And then a little notch for the USB cable. So let's see how this is going to work. So that's going to go there. Why is that? That sneaks in there. And then the angles here are making it difficult. I think I ran into this last time I tried to install this. The angles on the back side are making it difficult for me to snap that into place as a post-install thing. So I'm going to pull this off. And I'm going to take my snippers and I'm just going to cut this back. I'm just going to cut the back piece out where we don't really care that we're not trying to shield that side. So let's see if that makes it easier to get into place. There we go. There. What do you think? And then this is plenty of room there. And my mounting screw back on. That's there. Now, where is... I used this Open Builds T-slot cover. I'm gonna use that pretty much the whole length. I'm gonna cut it about there. It's not gonna be the entire length, but it's gonna completely control the... So this is gonna go in here. Oh, that is close. Let's see if I can sneak that in there with a little persuasion. There we go. Now that was tough, I'm going to move the gantry all the way down to... And then I'm going to slide this in behind it. Hope I can get that. Just like, let's see if we can get a view. Oops, wrong button. There we go. So now that sneaks in there. Maybe a little further down. This all. It's in. Let's make sure we're good on lengths here. I think we're good. Yeah. That is there. I love this Open Builds cover. I mean, if you look, I put it everywhere. Every top slot in the chamber here, and then I can just wipe debris out, and it doesn't get caught in the extrusion. There's lots of versions out there. I buy the stuff I use directly from Open Builds in the US. It's not very expensive. I like that. This is why I didn't put the panels on yet. So now you can see the camera there. I'm gonna grab a zip tie and make sure that there's some slack here for the... And it looks like I probably wanted to put the zip tie on before I mounted it, so that's okay. It's got a channel there so it doesn't get in the way once it's mounted. The zip tie is getting caught in the extrusion slot when I try to put it on there after it's mounted. Okay, so that should give me still plenty of slack to rotate it without putting stress on the connector. Now I can put this in and about centered. You can kind of see it here. They don't offer it in gray. They offered it in a few colors. I'll bring it up on their website here in a second. I'm going to point this down to where I think it's going to be useful. And tighten these screws just a little bit. And then let me see here. This sets here real well. I'll just put a short piece of that slot cover here, and then the USB cable will be nicely tucked out of the way. Black, red, yellow, and gray. They do sell gray? I'll have to check. I need a piece about that long. Where'd my cutter go? There it is. I will have to check. I didn't know they sold gray. There. Now that keeps that from flopping out of there. You see it on their site. Okay. So here is where I get that. So I always look for this. I go open build store. I go to the open builds parts store. And I think it's, let's just search for cover. There we go. Slot cover panel holder. There is gray. And there was probably gray there before. I'm not sure why I didn't buy gray. That would have worked well in this build. But yeah, it's meant for V-slot, but it works really well in these Masumi style extrusions, Masumi or LDO. Let's go back here. So that is plugged in. Let me do a little better job of centering this. Oh. Put the rest of the panels on and get it powered on. Actually, let's test it first and then we'll get the power panels on. Power her up. Yeah, the gray wouldn't be new. I just didn't notice it or decided to stick with black because I can use it on anything. Printer is booting up. reconnect to it. Hey, there we are. Immediately. There we go. Let's see if I can angle this down a little more. That's probably about right to see what I want to see. There's no setup, and it's just right. What camera are you using for webcam? So this is a Waveshare 5 megapixel little slim camera I bought off Amazon. If you're talking about for the stream, this is a C922 Logitech. So that is pretty good. And you know what I found out I can do here? So I found out something yesterday when I was playing around with this. If we go to the settings for the camera, let's go to cameras, and we're going to just leave that. And if the camera URL, here. So these settings, we could flip this horizontally or vertically here. We could set a few things. If I go back to the home page and I want to view this full, I can grab this address. And I don't know if this is the proper way to do it, but I know this works. If I copy this address, and you're going to lose me for a second, but give me a minute. I paste this address into OBS. I can get this into the OBS feed. And does that, there we go. It's a bit of a delay. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So maybe in future, if I get several of these on my printers, I could have a view of the different things I might be printing while the stream's going on. Neat. So that was easier than I expected. And it has autofocus, huh? It's 640 by 480 in Pi standard, I think, but that's enough. It can be changed in the config. And maybe I need to look at more advanced config on this stuff. Let me shut down the printer so I can move it around and get the rest of the panels on. Let's get a print going. We've got a little while left, so let's do some print and chill. It's capped to 15, I think, was the setting in Fluid FPS, 15 FPS. What display did you get on this machine? This is also from Waveshare. It's the 4.3 inch IPS capacitive touchscreen with the DSI interface into the Pi. There is a mount out there on Voron users for it that I use. So powered that off. Let's unplug it. Let's get the panels on and start a print. Hopefully I don't run into any more gotchas. I like the angle of that, so I'm gonna just kind of make sure these are tight to lock that in. The top panel, it's gonna go there. Side panel, it's gonna go here. Webcam.txt file has resolution. Okay. Maybe we can play with that before I start a print. We'll see. I'm very pleased with that. That makes me want to order a bunch more of those. So don't gobble them all up, okay? I'm going to order a couple more. It'd be nice to see what the quality is like at max. If you guys want to help me figure out, go through that stuff, I'm willing to give it a shot. I really like being able to run that USB cable in the extrusion channel. Super clean. Everything's out of the way. Just bought 4. Sold out. Sold out. Yeah. This one. Why aren't you rotating into place? There we go. Screwing in the panels has sold you on snap latches? Maybe. I do this so rarely. It doesn't really bug me. Like I said, I wouldn't mind trying out one of the magnetic panel mounts though. Voron hug striking. The Voron hug is so real. It's amazing to see, like, so many places you go where you look for one thing in the bomb and all the things other people buy this, and it's all bomb stuff. It's all Voron build stuff. Hey Delvin. Just finished your 2.4 build. Congratulations. Any plans to upgrade to Fenix 7? No, I like this. I think you're talking about my watch. This is the... I don't even remember what model this is. One of the best prints I've ever done, though, is I printed this in TPU, and it's been like a year and a half, and it hasn't... It's been durable. It's got a little latch in there like the regular one. That's a printed whatever band holder. What model is this thing? It's a 945. Okay. Hi, Charlie. What are you doing over there? Patrick, got my Trident together and printing. Your and Nero's streams have been very helpful, and the print quality even before tuning is awesome. Congratulations, and thank you for the 5. John, I don't know. Apparently a bunch of different places make this camera, but this one is branded as a wave share off of Amazon. It's a little slim 5 megapixel. There we go. We got the model posted in chat. Go. At least you can be entertained by Charlie while I do this boring task of installing panels. Omnivision sensor, okay. What are you using to cut it, Golden Jaguar? I usually use a fiber wheel on my chop saw. I have a, I don't know what it's called. Bought it from Harbor Freight, so I don't really care about it. Killer Prince, for the camera fund and because you're awesome. Thank you for the fiber. All of my panels on this are cut to pretty much exact, so I gotta have them perfectly centered in order for it to go in. Echo 2 Papa 2, did you release your updated design for the Z-belt covers? I have not. That's something I need to put out on my GitHub. Charlie's just happy to be here. He would rather me be sitting at my desk so he can lay on my shoulder. Come on. There we go. Your webcam have an LED? It does. I don't know how you turn it on in this application. Ad block tax. 10 pounds? Thank you. I don't turn ads on my, I don't turn on ads on any of my videos. I'm eligible to turn on ads. I do not. Bought one in Amazon delivery in May. Uh-oh. I'm not paying enough attention to Charlie now. Look at this. Mm-hmm. Okay, Charlie. I gotta get back to this. Okay, doors. And then I want to do a input shaper tune since I changed out the whole gantry. Using ad blocks, I sense. I appreciate it, Steve. What side PTFE tube do you use to feed the extruders? So it is 4mm outer diameter and 3mm inner diameter. You know, a lot of people aren't thrilled with these door hinges. I like them. They work well. I have no desire to change my door hinges. What is that? I'm having a hard time closing now. Let's pull this out. There we go. Does Charlie do okay with bats? He actually does. He's not thrilled about it, but he will tolerate it. Any advices to print TPUs slow? There we go. Yep, slow. Slow it down. Oh. Okay. Let's power it up again. Oh, wow. I'm getting a package tomorrow. I'm excited. It's coming from a long ways, and it's shipped on Friday, and I'm getting it tomorrow. Maybe it was Thursday. One of those. I just got the email saying that it'll be here tomorrow. So maybe something to show on stream next week. We'll see. Okay, powering up, connected. Let's see here. I want this to be somewhat close to level to begin with. Just good practice. Let's go home all. Okay. So Remy, do you have the same Garmin watch, or do you need a full strap? Or a full strap? Because this little piece here, I found some models, but I just modeled my own, and it's literally been probably the most useful print because I use it every single day. The original one disintegrated and cracked. This has been rock solid, and it's comfortable. I haven't noticed that it's there. So. I'm gonna do a QGL, but it's probably going to have some retries because it's not heated up. I've got, I don't know if you can tell. Here, let's see. Can you see it? The cat hair. That is all cat hair. I think all the clues have been needed in chat. And actually, to be honest, I don't know. I don't know what's all coming. Okay, so we're gonna do a QGL just to make sure everything's good. QGL. Bring up the reconnect. Yeah, we got a couple of retries in there, but I won't worry about that unless it's doing it when it's heated up. I had that really close. What was that? That was only a 1.2 millimeter change. This is almost a must have mod, these little touch screens. Just the utility to walk up to the printer and do some of this stuff is kind of nice. That was 0.03 millimeter change, so this should be the last round. Had a retry in there. Started building a 3D Sets Landy yesterday. It's a large build. Yeah, for sure. I haven't actually bought my screws yet. I'm planning on just buying them from Bolt Depot. Uh-oh. Got a bot. Oh, no, no. Stop talking. There we go. Port. There we go. Bot should be gone. It put the dock away. We are good. Okay. Other things I said I was going to do is go through and fix the configuration stuff. So let's pick up where we left off. Hey, look at that. That's awesome. I like it. We were getting the someone else mentioned it and I draw a blank, but we were getting an error. Basically, is it here? Yeah, these default parameters, that's a deprecated function. So I had commented these out, and the only places I used them were in the default pause resume macros. So I had commented these out just to make the printer work. And I would like to now show you how to, maybe not the fancy way to fix it, but where to get examples that are replacements and work. So I'm running fluid. So I'm going to the fluid. So this is docs.fluid.xyz. So remember, there's always two D's in fluid. And the configuration and initial setup has default macros for these things. So I'm going to come down here and grab the pause macro. And go to my config and just replace the pause macro. And the resume. Come down here and grab the resume macro. Replace that. And I think the rest of them, we'll see what, I don't know that this changed. The cancel print, let's just copy it just to be consistent. And that should take care of the issue we had last week. So I'm going to save that. I'm not ready to restart. I want to make another change. So where are we at in chat? Especially IKEA bails me because fluid kitchen renovation stuff, huh? We did that a few years ago. Are the front idlers from 2.4 R2 compatible with v1.8? No. However, very soon, I've kind of taken a little, my motivation is kind of taken a sidetrack the last couple of weeks. But very soon, I'm going to be working on moving all that kind of stuff over to Trident. The files are done. I've had them installed on printers forever. I'll do the same thing. It's an even less of an update than 2.4 R2. I'll do the same thing where I'll create the pull request and you can pull files early from that. But I need to throw them out there. There are unique files for 1.8 and Trident. The ones for Trident will work on 1.8. Brightwire, would this work 1-to-1 in main cell? Yes, and also I'm pretty sure if we go here, let's go here. Isn't it just docs? Yeah, main sale. It's docs.mainsail.xyz. There should be all these macros here. You can get the same thing. That might not be word for word the same, but it is equivalent macros. So these documentation sites, it's just really useful to just know how to get to them. So mainsail, Moonraker, Fluid, Clipper, Voron docs, all of those have this, the information. So, okay, back at the configuration. We save this, let's close it. In the printer config, I want to do a couple of things. We're going to do input shaping, so I'll uncomment that in a bit. But I want to bump my currents up here. I was running 0.6. Let me let Charlie out. Running 0.5, I want to bump that up to 0.6. Just, and then the rest of them should be okay. So that's the only change. So let's save and restart. And make sure everything comes up without error. And it does. That's just so cool. I'm going to get more of those now if you guys haven't bought them all. And now I'm going to, I don't know if you need to. Actually, let's go back to the configuration and enable all the, printer config. Let's enable all the stuff for the Raspberry Pi MCU, which we may have to update, because we didn't update the host MCU. I need to put all this in a separate file too and just include it. So let's uncomment all of that. Save and restart. And this is going, yeah, so we've got to update the Pi. So let's go to, I've got a fan going crazy. Are you guys hearing that? Hopefully it's not too bad. I do not have Discord available right here, Nathan. I turn it off. Yeah. So we are going to the clipper3d.org. We're going to go to the resonance compensation documentation. And this is just to remind myself the commands for this. We want to go to measuring resonance, and there's documentation for the RPi in here. I think just the yeah, okay. Let's bring up a terminal SSH into the Pi. Noise cancellation is working. Okay. It's got one of the controller fans running at full speed because of the air state. Let's go to Clipper and make clean, make menu, config. And we're going to change this to, what is it? Linux process? Is that right? Linux process, then save and exit. And that is it. So quit. Yes. And we're going to stop the Clipper service. We're going to flash, and then we're going to start the Clipper service. So sudo service Clipper stop. Password. Kyle, I'll show you where I get that mount for the TFT here in a second. I mistyped my password. Try that again. And then make flash. So while that's doing that, if we go to the Voron users GitHub, I think I've still got a window here. No. Let's go to Voron users GitHub. Go to printer mods. And I search for wave share. And we're going to find the I don't know how to say this, but the 4.3 inch touchscreen mount. I think that, yeah, this is the one. So answering the question in chat from, was it Kyle? This is the mount I use. I modified it a little bit, but this is basically it. Go back here, and we are going to start the service. There we go. Now we don't have the error anymore. So we've updated the Clipper version on the host controller, or the host MCU. And I think if we go over here, here we are, MCU Raspberry Pi now. The MCU is the Duet setup I have in here. That's at this version. The Raspberry Pi is now at the same version. And the version I'm running, I think you can get that in the software updates. It's the same version. Everything's at the same version now. What are we talking about? Rails on the Trident are the same as the 2.4 that moved from the 1.8, which the rails are on the top. Trident rails are on the bottom. V2 rails are on the bottom. For why? Everything's up to date except for OS packages. We're fine. Let's shut it down. And I've covered this in stream before, but I have a little harness I use, and it has a MF6, and this is on my GitHub, although the little retaining bracket you need to get from the ERCF repo. An MF6 that plugs into the front of the printer here. And then just gonna move this here. And for this, I just mount this to the afterburner here. I know it's not ideal, it works. Talking about 1.8 front idlers, I think I misheard you saying that the Trident idlers, yes, the Trident idlers will fit, the front idlers will fit on a 1.8. The orientation of the rail doesn't matter. Those parts didn't change. That's in the original release of Trident. This was one of the only pieces that didn't change from 1.8 were the front idlers. So when I do the offset tensioning, when I release the offset tensioning front idlers for Trident, they will work on 1.8. I need to figure out how long this needs to be. Nope, that's not long enough. I think it's a 40 that we need there. That'll work. Yeah, that'll work. Barely. Where are the STLs for those little Z linear rail bumpers? The Trident one should work. These are based off the ones from the 2.2 repo. I am grabbing a nylon washer here so I don't accidentally short something out on this board. So I'm going to go nylon washer, screw, and then I'm going to bolt this in right here. Are they at the bottom to lower the center of gravity? Are you talking about the rails? No. They're at the bottom because that's the way Voron 2 was set up. And, well, I'm going to go off on explaining this, hoping that I understand what Britt Wire's question is. So on the 1.8, the Y rails are on the top of the extrusion because you've got a fixed gantry. It's mounted up here. And for your Z setup on the 1.8, you had linear rods that were mounted to the underside of the Y extrusion and the top side of the frame extrusion here. So you have nowhere for the carriage to run across the bottom of that rail. So that forced the rails to go to the top of that Y extrusion. When I went to the 3Z setup on Trident, that freed up that space so we could make the gantry basically the same between Trident and V2. Is that what you were asking, Brightwire? I hope that explained it. Yeah, there's no notches for the rails on those. They start at the end of the rail. Okay, that is plugged in. Let's turn her back on. I'm going to set this about how I want it when I'm going to be printing. I'll run this again when I move it to its final location. Zip tie here. Reconnect. So I've always gone through this. The XY joints do have cutouts, you're right. I've always gone through this, and that's between the MGN12 and the MGN9 setups. I've always gone through this doing kind of the manual way, but there is a command apparently. If we go back to measuring resonance, there is a command to do this automatically, huh? First, this is a new accelerometer. I just soldered the connector to it today, so I want to make sure that we're seeing it properly. So let's go do the accelerometer query. I think that's what we want. For non-bed slingers, enter accelerometer query. So let's go here, and maybe that's probably close enough. And we are getting values. Let's see. You should see current measurements, including the free fall acceleration. Yep. We didn't get an error. Now measure axis noise. And I don't know what that should be, so let's see what we're looking for here. Should be somewhere in the range of about 1 to 100. And that's where we're at. So yep, we're good. And then if we go down, we should have, I think it explains doesn't it explain down here the shaper calibrate? Input shaper auto calibration is what I haven't done before. And that's what Datus is saying in chat, I think. Steve, can I use a V0 to 1 Pancake PCB on the Stealth burner? Not sure why a PCB board hasn't been made for the Stealth burner yet. You sure it hasn't been made for the Stealth burner yet? But by default, a Pancake PCB for a stealth burner, like on a V0.1, would get in the way of the cable chains. Now, if you're going to run an umbilical, then go for it. I think it's going to put it out on a different angle than it does on V0. Okay, so shaper calibrate. This will run the full test for both axes and generate the CSV output and the suggested input shapers. You also get the suggested frequencies for each input shaper, as well as which input shaper is recommended for your setup. So let's run shaper calibrate. Now, do we need to, well, this home first? Let's go ahead. So I'm going to kind of be here close. We're going to home. And it's nice not having those two cable chains rub against each other now. And then I'm just going to move this. I'm just going to move this to the middle of the plate. And I just did a default move, which is super slow. Yeah, a lot of things like that aren't going to be, are wise to not be released for Stealth Burner until it comes out of beta, because so much stuff changes. So I'm homed and positioned. So now I'm going to run the shaper calibrate command. And I don't know if we'll actually be able to see the tool head moving, but we'll at least throw the camera in the right spot to maybe see it. So we'll start. Very soon you won't be able to see that. Charlie doesn't seem to mind yet. Let's see when it gets to a higher frequency if he decides this is the most comfortable place for him. But after today, I'm excited because this printer goes back into the main rotation. Charlie wants attention. Oh, okay. There you go. Is it doing something? Yeah, it's at 126 hertz right now, so you can't see it. And the noise cancellation is probably getting rid of the noise. Now it's going to, should do Y, so it's waiting for calculations now. I guess we can go here. See, it went through all the frequencies. Now it's going to, now it's doing Y. Shaping the input. Now you can hear it. Can you hear it mostly when I talk? Woo! Got the back panel vibrating now. Right there at about the 30 hertz range, the back panel vibrated. Actually, we can, what's the best? Do that. Kind of like Charlie purring. He's found his pillow again, so he's happy. Almost 100 hertz. At the end, just save config and done, huh? Trident printing parts for Tridex. Awesome. I'm waiting for steppers for my Tridex build. I need the NEMA 14s. I have oh, that finished. Oh, let's go back to this screen so we can see what it's doing. So it's waiting for calculations. Excuse me. Oh, it's the exhaust housing being on the, okay. Sorry about that. Calculating all the stuff. It's doing things. There we go. Save config. That is saved. Oh, we have a bot? We do. That's interesting. What is the point of that one? Unless that's not, is that a bot? I don't know if that's a bot. Yeah. I'm sorry if I called you a bot. All right, sorry that I called you a bot. Next thing I want to do is go to the configuration, and I want to grab all of this and cut it. And I'm going to create a new file, add a file. We're just going to call this adxl.config. And I'm going to paste this stuff into there and save. And now in our printer config, we're going to include adxl.config. And for now, we're just going to comment that out. That way, I just have to uncomment that one line when I want to do this again. And then we'll save, restart. Voron, I started with Clipper doubting I would like and be able to use it, but the input shaping is just magical. Thank you for the stream. Love Charlie. Thank you. £5. I started with Clipper early on. I don't know how early it was in Clipper development, and got frustrated with it and didn't go back to it. Now that I'm used to it and using it, and it's at its state it is right now, I can't even imagine having to go through a Marlin config and recompile and everything every time I wanted to make a change. Doing these little changes here, uncommenting something, making a change, and just doing a firmware restart, that 20 seconds process makes it so worth it. So, I'm going to shut this down. And we're going to get a print started. So I don't know. Does anybody know? Does it matter if you unplug this device with it powered on? I always shut off just to be safe. I haven't looked enough to see if it matters. I'm going to remove that. Move the sensor. Put this back in and start her up and let's get it going. Have my desk here is, or my bench here is very not flat. That helps. Adrian, thanks Steve for the great streams. Really helped build your Voron 2.4 kit. I'm glad. Thank you. Thank you for 20 pounds. Doubt it matters. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just playing it safe. It's always safe. Yes. I'm going with the safe answer. We are going to print something. I think I want to print something useful. So I'm going to print some of the ERCF parts. And I had a hard time figuring out what color I want to print because I don't know exactly which printer I am going to connect it to. Because this build is still a ways out. I'm not quite ready. But if I'm going to print something, I might as well print something useful. So I'm going to go with the generic answer and go with a red. And this isn't Voron red, but this is what used to be the official red. And this is Paramount Enzo red. Was bought, they wait for interaction. Okay. Well, I'm just going to leave it. I don't know. It's already in the chat. So I'm going to put that, oops. So my filament loading process for this is to just feed it all the way to the hot end. For this printer. On some of my others, I have a macro setup, or a load macro setup, but that's that. We're going to preheat this while we set up the print job. So I have, where is my temperature? I've got an ABS preset. We're going to set that up. Before that gets hot, wipe off the build surface. Yeah, mine is still, my original V2 is still Enzo red. There are a lot of filament out there. I don't know if it's just, I don't know what, but this red seems a little paler than it used to be. I don't know if it's people trying to stretch the pigment. I like the Paramount filament. It prints well. I haven't had any complaints on it. I've printed with Autobot blue, Enzo red, and I had a roll of iron red, but I sent it off to Nimagria because it's his favorite color. And he had run out of the OG good, not pale stuff. Is there a place where we can see the accent pieces for Voron parts? I want to do mine with black and green, but not sure which ones should be accents. You can go into the CAD and change the colors. There is also a website, and I don't know how to get to that website. I think I'd probably spend too much time fumbling to find it. If someone wants to give me a hint on how to find that site, I can post a link in chat. Hi, Lars from Netherlands. So this is warming up. I've wiped off the the build surface. This is going to take a little while. It's going to take a little while to warm up, so. I think I have some Paramount silver as well I've printed with. Silver is an interesting one. I found silver ABS tends to benefit from being dried. So if you have trouble with your silver, try drying it. 3D printer color configurator. Let's see. Let's see, is this? Let's try this. For the color configurator, folks, is that the one? There's a couple of them out there, huh? What do we got? config.makercube.net or .me? Oh. Here's another one. Let's go. So that's that configurator. Hey, I must have been doing something with, or is that a default? Let's close these. So I'm going to print some of these items from the ERCF project. I figure I'd just grab some of the accent pieces here. Is there a no release? So let's go here. Download the zip. Instead of downloading each of those individually. So let's download the zip. While that's downloading, let me grab a drink. I'll be right back. I didn't mean that. What I said was, for those of you in the US who are hesitant to buy from Sparta 3D because of the conversion rates, at least when I last bought it, it's a very reasonable, just barely north of $100 for 4 rolls of filament, which is really reasonable. So I think I should be back on. I didn't mean to do that. Okay, open the file. Let's grab this and let's just put it here. Sure. I gotta clean up and figure out a good file organization for this. So let's go here. We are going, I imported my V2 profile, including shipping. Including shipping, I think it was $104 for 4 rolls. I don't know if shipping has changed, so your mileage may vary, but it's very reasonable. Unfortunately, they're getting pretty popular, and those sparkle colors are awesome, and some of them are out of stock, but yeah. Let's go to platter. Oh, what do we got going on here? Why don't I see all the stuff I should see? Where's my... What is going on? Let me close this. Cancel. That's why. Okay. Close that. Here, let's open. We're going to go to here and here. Here, and I think I want to go gearbox. I wanted these files. So let's just print all the accent files from here. This seems like a good piece to start with. Brightwire, the problem with using different types of material is any multi-filament solution that uses a single nozzle, you're going to have cross-contamination. So to the degree that that affects your print, you're just going to have to experiment with. But you will get some, no matter what, you're going to get some cross-contamination between the filaments. And it does cause problems. It just depends on what your particular setup is. So your mileage is going to vary depending on what you're trying to do. Okay, so I'm going to use my same profile that I use for everything. I probably need to go through and update this and optimize a few things, but we're just going to go with this. My general print settings, these are the speeds. They are a little conservative. They could be bumped up. What else do I do? All of the forced 0.4 millimeter print settings, low retraction, filament settings. This should all be correct-ish. It'd be correct enough for a print. What are we at? We are at temperature, so we're going to let it soak for a little bit. But, I have not printed I have not set this up. Yeah, so let's set up a machine here. V2 green. V2 green dot local. Let's test it. Works correctly. Okay. So this is not a new M4KF. This is parts. Now this is the M4 80 tooth gear, but the Enraged Rabbit Carrot Feeder mod uses this. So this is the accent parts from the gearbox. Oh, that's wrong. For the Carrot Feeder, STLs, the gearbox, this is the accent parts. And thank you for reminding me. Let's go ahead and do the multiples. So if these do end up being the pieces that I use, that I'll have them. So thanks, Paul. Hi, kitty cat. So I was about to show you, because we were talking about Tridex before, and I am starting to get prepared. So I've got a dual MGN12 400 millimeter rail. Spaces should be, I think I got everything right. The bearing spacer, side latch ×2. Everything that's marked ×2, I've got ×2. I'm probably not going to give this my typical preheat time, but I'd like to give it 10 minutes or so. And we're almost at the 3-hour mark. So yeah, Sanity, that had 2 carriages for my Tridex build. Let's see what we got. Oh, chat is lagging. You hit the live button on the thing, bring you up to speed. Would you ever build a Doom Cube? I like the idea of the Doom Cube. I don't know what I would... I don't know where I would put one or which one I would convert if I did. See you, kitty cat. Thanks for being here. The Tridex build is a mod. It's not an official, but it's done by Eddie. He's put a ton of time into it. It's really cool. So I'm looking forward to that build. The orange Trident here is going to get the treatment. It's a 250 build. It is a 250 build, and I have a 350 frame. So I'm going to use all the X extrusions to make it a 350X by 250Y machine. What are we? We're at about a little over 6 or 8 minutes of soaking time so far. Give it a couple more minutes. I don't know if you can try reloading and see if it syncs up a little more. I've got everything set on low latency. Yes, Britwire, it's Eddie the engineer. Yep. What part cooling fans have you had the best luck with in the V0.1? So there's a mod out there that is a little shield that gives extra cooling to the fans, and that works. I tested it on one of my V0.1s because I'm guessing that you're having problems with one of them turning off when the chamber gets hot. And there is a little shield mod that slips up into the tool head that helps direct some of the hot and cooling air to the fans, and it makes a difference. So I use usually I think I have GDS time fans on them. The V0.1 cooling mod. Let's see if we can find it. Let's go to printer mods, and for what would we search for? Let's just search for fan. Fan saver mod, is that it? Yes, this is it. So this fan saver, Japage fan saver. This works. It's a little fiddly to install, and I printed mine out of Polymaker PC Max, a polycarbonate blend, and just to make sure it could handle hopefully handle the heat, but it works. It's this little green piece that slips up in here. You have to pull your fans out and pull the stickers off and stuff. So it's a bit of a bear to install, but this is the piece. These are the same fans I'm using. Pull the sticker off. Make sure all the wires and stuff are routed correctly, and then it slips up in there into place. Takes a little fiddling to get it right in the spot, but yeah. Oop. Go back here. So we're at about 10 minutes of pre-soak. I'd like to go 10 or 15 or 20 usually before I start a print, but we're going to go ahead and get this going. So I am going to slice this. And send it to the printer. Upload. 3/32 inches. That is sent to the printer now. You should see it here in the jobs. My process is kind of manual and a little probably odd for people. My print process, and let me pull the ooze from the, where's my tweezers? Reach in here and pull the ooze from the nozzle. I have a macro here that I use, and it's print prep. So I just hit that, and it's going to home, quad gantry level, and mesh. Rando temp. There's no stealth burner on this V2 yet because I'm going to use this printer as the stream subject when Stealth Burner and Clockwork 2 is released. So after it's out of beta, I'll do a stream on installing it on this printer. So until then, this will remain as the Afterburner setup. Why am I using Prusa Slicer over Super Slicer? Because I've been bit by updates to Super Slicer breaking things, and I don't trust it. Is there a reason for letting it soak? To let the chamber warm up, let things get to somewhat to equilibrium. If you have a consistent, not necessarily how long it is, but if your preheat time, your heat soak time is consistent, you'll have better luck with a consistent first layer. This is a bigger deal, I think, with an enclosed printer because everything, I mean, your extrusions start heating up more on an enclosed printer. All those things move as they heat up and expand. So you don't see this as big of a deal on like a Prusa or any open printer because that stuff doesn't change. So you can pretty much hit print and let things warm up and start printing. But I think that you see an effect on that more with the fully enclosed printer. So having it get to some normalized temperature helps you with keeping a consistent print. I'm still getting a couple of retries on there. Not quite sure. So it finished. Now it's going to do its post QGL home, and then it'll grab the probe again for a bed mesh. Yeah. The view on the camera here, or where do we got? I don't have it set up on my keyboard there. Oh, that's not refreshing. Why isn't it refreshing? There we go. I had to hit refresh manually. There's a little lag between this and the web interface. Oh, you hit a tunnel, Sanity? Can you post your print starting config and macros config to chat? Not to chat. But if you message me, I can send you what I do. Your Euclid picks up the probe once, QGLs, home Z, calibrates the Z offset, then builds a mesh. But the calibrate Z, you can't do a home after calibrate Z. Okay, so now it's ready to start the print. So now I'm gonna oh, where's jobs? There we are, jobs. So now I can start the print. And in my print start macro is the Z calibrate. So if we set that to print, well, this is probably as good a view as you're gonna get. So it's gonna go and do the auto Z calibrate. I haven't looked into any of the time-lapse stuff. We'll see how it goes. Why you can't home after you do the auto Z calibrate. The auto Z, not, yeah. Now it'll dock it and then start the print. I don't know if it'd be better to get a view from this. Let's see it a little more here. Purge the silver that was in there. That'll get purged from the skirt. Just starting to print the parts for your V2.4R2. Never built a printer like this other than your Prusa's. There's so many parts, yep. If I just print them all, I want to put an LGX on it. Well, there's going to be a few toolhead parts that are going to be different for your LGX. What does that clicky macro look like? I'm using an older version of the Euclid macros. It's not clicky, so I'm using a Euclid probe on this one. I will be covering, I need to familiarize myself with them first, but I will be covering the most recent recommended macros for Euclid when I do a install on a Trident for the Euclid. Kyle, this is also homing after a QGL. And then calibrate, and then it does a mesh, and then calibrate Z should be the last thing you do. As long, I guess it doesn't matter if you do the mesh and then calibrate Z then the mesh, as long as you're not homing between those. Jonas, the auto calibrate is not a built-in clipper function, it's a plugin. If you search for Z calibration GitHub, you'll find a page and it explains it all. But that is looking like it's putting down some good plastic. Let's see what this looks like. That view. It's pretty good. Brightwire, I do need to go through and do a little bit of optimization on my print speeds. They are a little conservative. I don't know what the estimate is about 3.5 hours. I'm always a little ahead of the slicer estimate. I think the slicer said 3 hours and 40 minutes. I bet you this takes closer to 3 hours, 3 hours and 15 minutes. I like that though. I do want to try one of these mounts with a different angle mounted to the bottom of the extrusion, and I might get a little, just slightly different angle at it. So that on another printer, I'll use this one with a little different angle set up. Do you ever have problems with the Sparta ABS sticking too much? No, mine was all fine. You're hoping for a version of Euclid or Clicky that has a keyed XY groove so it can't be off even a tiny bit because it's flat magnets sitting on flat magnets. I'm not quite sure I get that. It doesn't matter if it's off in X and Y by a little bit. You can use Clipper Estimator to get better estimates. It's faster than the slicer says, so that's fine with me. Any recommendations on what kit to get for a Voron 2.4? I don't have any specific recommendations. All I say is if you're buying a kit, make sure you know what it comes with, and make sure the company is including good parts. If they're vague on something, like they just say SSR, find out what brand model they're going to include, just as an example. John, oh, you're talking to Jason. If you have a camera, it's better to have a heat sink on the Raspberry. I have a heat sink, a small heat sink, but I have air blowing right across the Raspberry. I set up my fans, my controller fans. I have one here and one on the other side. The Raspberry Pi is the first thing mounted next to this fan, and it's always going. This one only turns on when the steppers turn on, and it's blowing. I usually put the controller board to where this one blows across the stepper drivers on the controller board. This one blows across the Raspberry Pi. In this setup, I've never had overheat warning on the Pi. Tomorrow is Pi Day. That's right. Any tips for filaments which are prone to warping? I've been struggling with PC ABS. Don't know what else to do. I have a real hard time with the Prusament PC blend. I can't get that to not warp. But for most things, if I get any little lifting in the corner, I honestly put purple glue stick down. I put purple glue stick down for almost everything. And it's so thin on there, I put just barely enough. And then I take an IPA soaked paper towel and spread it out. And then I won't reapply, but I'll do paper towel in between for many, many prints. Just that tiny bit of film on there seems to help. Brant, I do use the same print settings for all of the V2 and Tridents. I do have a special extra fast profile that I was using on my original V2 with a high flow hot end that worked really well, but it required the high flow hot end. I'm just gonna say your name as it looks, Netco. Do I think about chamber thermistor to do the heat soak? I haven't. I do have one printer set up with the frame compensation thing with a chamber thermistor and everything. But honestly, I just wait 15 or 20 minutes and then start a print. Once the bed has reached 110, I run all my beds at 110 for ABS. Once it reaches there, I wait 15 or 20 minutes and then start a print. I don't know if that's any better. Not really. We can get it from... I like that. I need to put cameras on all of them now. Unless you guys have bought them all. I haven't tried any of the fancy bed adhesion promoters like Vision Miner. I haven't bothered buying any. Jan, greetings from Germany. Hello. Finally managed to catch a stream and just wanted to let you know how much I like your calm way of talking and the effort you take to explain things. Keep it up. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'm having fun. So, and it feels good that it's appreciated. Are they all sold out now? I honestly just put purple glue stick. Just the purple stuff. So there is no way that we're going to be on here because I need to go on a bike ride, remember? So we'll probably give this about another 15 minutes. Watching it print, we'll let this go. So chat until 1:30 my time. That's about another 15 minutes. I almost saw it, DJ Natty, I almost saw yours as spam. That whatever you're trying to say there, I almost went for the spam button. Until Nayu. What is that? Is that just typos? trick of printing one layer of PETG and then switching to ABS really works on PEI. PETG bonds to PEI. Yeah, I got grease and IP on her fingers. I don't use brims on any prints, and I mean, they're crisp. The corners are always crisp. No sign of lifting. Now, I have been using brims on these PLA prints on my Legacy because I am getting some corner lifting. So I've been, I'll probably reprint this after I try to figure this roughness out with a brim, but Cookie, this is a 250 build with a Prusa plate. I really like the Prusa textured sheets. So they're 254 wide, or most of them are 254 wide by 230-ish deep, with a print area of 250 by 210, I think is what Prusa advertises it at. I set this printer up with pegs in the build plate that index to the Prusa sheet, just because I really like the sheets. So it's a 250 build, just a Prusa build sheet. I haven't had any problems with the adhesion. I can't, the satin sheet, I have one of the satin sheets, and I can't get it to stop lifting corners though. Hyper makes the Voron hug is the effect when a part is mentioned in the community as being something cool and desirable, it suddenly is sold out everywhere. It boggles my mind, the effect. I mean, just to go out to, I just noticed the other day, you go out to Kinovo's silicone heater site, and they have specific mention of Voron stuff in the description for their heaters. You go to Amazon and you search for a part that we use, and the other people buy is all things that are listed on the Voron build. You go to DigiKey and you search for the filtered inlets. Well, there's other things that are used in the Voron build right there in the frequently bought. Scuff it with Scotch-Brite. I can't bring myself to scuff that satin sheet yet. Kind of feels like it would defeat the purpose. Leo, I do 110 degrees on all my builds, on all my ABS printing. We stream and mention websites for something I could give away. Websites go down. Yeah. Well, that's first layer's done. You tried clipper on a beagle bone. What's a beagle bone? No, because I don't know what a beagle bone is. What are we doing? Well. Ask Nero, it really works. Scotch Brite. Right, that's Scotch Brite on other things. I just don't want to use the Scotch Brite. I thought you were talking about using the Scotch Brite on my satin sheet. Oh, a Beagle Bone is a Raspberry Pi replacement. I see. I don't have. I have extra Raspberry Pis still. If I ever get in a bind, I know where I can sell something to make some cash. Yeah, I have a couple of zeros. I think I have one or two of 1.4 and a couple of Pi 02s. I feel like the first layer might have been, it's hard to tell. I don't know if it's a little high or a little low. It'd be nice when I get the, oh, that's bright. I think it might be a little high. That's okay, I'll let this go. It'd be nice when I get stealth burner LEDs on there, then I won't have to use the flashlight as much. Oh, stretch. I think shortage of supplies, bright wire. The LEDs for stealth burner are pretty common. Some of maybe some of the more popular sources might be sold out, but you can, those are super super common. Is Charlie sleeping? Yes. Charlie is fast asleep. Seems to be going at a good pace. I don't know if you guys can hear the print. The Pi 400 just has some packaging concerns. It's a much larger board. So it's all stretched out along the back of a keyboard. My son uses a Raspberry Pi 400 for his schoolwork. It actually works pretty well. They use Google Classroom for everything, so. Connects. Let's see. These are my speed settings that it is running at right now. So that's what everything is set to right now in the slicer. Music died. Why'd music die? Why'd the music die? I'm gonna reboot it. Come on. There we go. I have no idea why the music died. It must be the day. Yeah, I figure the filters. I'm just curious if any of it's making it through the filter. John caught it. I am one of the least musically inclined people. It has to be a pretty obvious reference for me to even bring it up. So go back to this. After input shaping, should we still use acceleration control on slicer or leave it disabled? I think you should still use acceleration control. You don't just max everything out. There's a benefit to like lowering your acceleration on perimeters, stuff like that. Does anybody have experience with titanium backers for the rails? Is it worth it? It's supposed to be worth it. I've heard really good things. I have a set of them for a 300 build. So I need to figure out which printer I'm going to put those on, either a Trident or a 2.4. What do I have? Dynamic acceleration enabled for just there's, like I said, there's a benefit to reducing your acceleration on like perimeters. But I'll be the first to admit I don't have all that stuff actually tuned. Got things working well enough. Yeah, I've got a couple for the ERCF. I just have a couple of parts still to get. I need the little Hall effect sensor for in the tool head. That might be the only thing I need actually. So it might not be too far off. It's just going to be a lot of prep, a lot of effort I want to do it without completely fumbling on stream. So I want some understanding of how everything works before I go. F1 season. I've never gotten into F1. I mean, the cars are cool and fast. I've just not... Oh, I haven't gotten into watching any racing, actually. I like going to races in person. I've been to several, like American Le Mans series and stuff, but... Stuff local, like I used to be called Sears Point Raceway, is really close. What is that? Laguna Seca is relatively close. I've been to a few things at those places. Yeah, I've chatted with Nero a little bit about it. His big recommendation is do some reading up, do some prep. So we are at 1:30 my time, 3.5 hours. That's pretty good. I once again, I thought I was gonna have to struggle to get more than a couple hours in today. So I think we're gonna wrap it up. This is gonna finish. I'll post a picture. I'll post a picture to my Twitter. Actually post something out there. I've got a few things, but I'm terrible at the social media game. But if you're interested in seeing, follow me. It's at Steve_builds, and I'll post a picture when this is finished. So with that, I want to thank everybody who's here, everybody who donated. You're awesome. Thank you very much. We will see you now next week. Before I really sign off, next week is a potential. I might have to change the stream time next week. I've got another thing I got to do, so I'll try to keep you updated on what we're doing. I'm hoping it'll be a regular Sunday stream, so keep an eye. So anyway, thanks again. I will see you next time. Bye.